Hello scrappy friends. So here's a sketch that I've drawn for today's layout. I'm doing 4 V's of pattern paper. I'm scrapping these photos. It's me running towards my niece ugly crying, which she got a picture of because I just read what was on Little O's t-shirt, which says big cousin. He'd actually come outside and showed us. Now I'm going to create a background here with saltwater taffy, mustard seed, whatever the pumpkin one is, I can never remember what it's called, and salvage patina. Debating with myself if to clean the stencil, and I decided to go ahead and clean it. So I'm just doing little spots in each colour randomly around the background, not bearing in mind how far down the papers are going to come or where the photos are going to go, just because I want like these random bits of ink to poke out, and doesn't matter if they're covered or half covered or what's sticking out. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm just cleaning the yellows and the pink half the orange before going in with the salvage patina, because I've covered a lot of the stencil at this point. As you can see, finally picked all my foams up off the floor and put them back in their box properly, all organised again in the RGB order that's on the Ranger website. Just going through the papers here to decide what I am going to use. I love that. So that's the red one with the little white hearts. I want for the middle layer something to be with a white base, and then a colour for the lowest layer of the papers. So I have decided that because where the photos are going to be, you're not going to see the join between the 2 6-inch pieces, so I do choose 2 sheets from the 6x8 pad there, because the pattern's smaller, and with them being like smaller pieces of the background, and with them being layers underneath this one, I thought something with a smaller layer would be better, with a smaller pattern would be better. So what I decided to do for these 6x8 sheets is cut them in half, so they're now 6x4, and then just tear across. Now I do tear both sides rather than turning around and tearing the other way, just because where I want the white edge to show. And I will use that on another piece. They're not going to go to waste. They are back in the collection box that I have to be used on another layout. So this is the I don't know what I call that colour. Is it a jade? Emerald? I'm never too sure what that is. So now I'm just picking a piece of the 12x12 there, the one with the black, kind of like looks like paint swishes, just my border along the top, and then along the bottom I have on my sketch done these pieces, these strips that aren't straight, so they're a bit squiffy. I get myself in a right muddle with this because of I actually cut the wrong end being the high end. I wanted it going the other way. I then turn that piece upside down, forgetting it's a directional pattern. So you will see that I do end up with upside down hearts in a minute. And then I love this rose background that I've used a smaller one on the layers at the top. So I do decide to use that on the layers on the bottom as well, because I just really love it. Yeah, and you'll see there I turned the red upside down, and I've ended up with upside down hearts and not realising. So I do, sticking this down takes a while. I faff about a lot. Okay, so this Pom Pom trim, my new love, just obsessed with it. This is from Hey Little Magpie. I picked it up at the prop last weekend. I have bought 3 colours so far, so I've bought the white, the black and the grey. I've used it on, I think, 2 layouts I made last weekend. They are layouts that that I didn't scrap on camera, because they're pictures of people that don't want to be on my YouTube videos. So I've just decided that at crops, I'm going to scrap pictures with those people in at crops, because then they're things I don't scrap on camera, or people I don't, pictures I don't scrap on camera. So yeah, that's you won't see those, but I've used Pom Pom trim quite a bit, so I am a bit obsessed. In the past, I've only ever used Pom Pom trim when it's actually been a class kit and it's been like a page from the class. I've never really used it myself that much. Okay, this is me getting in a bit of a fuddle with these strips at the bottom, because I get mixed up what's going on, which one's going what way round, not quite going to the edge. I do eventually take it all off and to go again. Not quite yet though, when I notice those hearts are upside down. So yeah, I'll start building the layers in a minute at the top when I finish faffing with this at the bottom. So put that strip that goes all the way along the top first, and then I think originally I was starting with the red, and then because of how far up underneath each of the layers come, I do end up like changing where bits are and things going up and down. Yeah, it does end up being changed, pulled about a little bit. I went to the dark one, thought actually I'm going to do the red one, and went back into on that. This does get moved again, that one on the side, because it's not quite right when I put this one on. That was me then with the Pom Pom trim, just making sure there was enough of the floral paper to see after I had the trim in, and I realised that actually I can have some of the cardstock showing between the layers of paper, because the Pom Pom trim's going to cover that, so I can bring the paper down a little bit further. So I do actually cut this a little bit too long. I end up having such a fight with my adhesive as to where stuff's going on this one. So using wet adhesive, it's the easiest for this stuff. You can just move it around till you're happy, and then it just gives a really good firm hold. A little bit of that does end up coming off because it has gone a little far too much under the photo, that I do find it hard to place the photo where I want. And also you'll see in a bit that I mess around with the foam pads on the back of the photos, and I end up taking them off and changing the foam pads. I end up with the top of the photo, the big photo, being higher than the bottom, so it can get over the Pom Pom trim bits as well. And I really like the look of that on the finished page as well. There we go, I'm just changing the foam pads there. So I just come down and doing each layer of the trim, just cutting them a bit shorter now because I've realised I've gone too long with the top one. And also as well, I realise that if I do end up cutting too much off and it ends up not finishing at the photo, I can always leave a gap and put an embellishment in it. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, just figuring out where I want things there. And this is me faffing about with the adhesive now on the back. I end up losing some foam pads and saving some others. It's around about now, after doing this one, that I noticed some hearts are upside down. Oh, I'm really sorry, I've got a bit of a sniffle. I realise those hearts are upside down, and I'm like debating with myself, don't leave them, it's alright, they're not that big, you can't see that much of it. And I do eventually go, no, actually I'm going to have to change that. I'm just fixing the photo in place, leaving the bottom corner still so I can lift it up and get this last piece of trim up, just because every time I place where it's going to go, I change my mind, it ends up somewhere else. So that's why I went in with the foam pads at that point, to be like, you know, this is where I know it's definitely going. Here we go. Yeah, this is when I finally give up and think, I am going to turn that over. I try to get that rule in place for it to be, this is where it's going to when I stick it back down, and I give up. Just use a little bit of solvent there to bring the bit of adhesive up that's stuck on the back, so I don't end up with a lumpy bumpy strip. And using a T-square ruler like that as well also helps in getting the edges of the photo right up to the edge rather than hanging off one end. So it does hang off one end, they're all hanging off the same end, which can be trimmed down, rather than how I had it originally. Some of them were hanging off the left and another was hanging off the right, and I'm much happier with that now. So I'm going to finish the Pom Pom trim off now on the top. There are so many colours of this. I got this from Hey Little Magpie, and Sarah's got quite a few different colours in. You'll see her using them in her layouts as well. A couple of other places I order from's got quite a few different colours in too. So, you know, it's one of those things where we used to use lots of like ribbon and stuff years ago, and then we stopped using it. And you know what? I was looking at this layout last night, and what this layout needs is some rick-rack. And I got rid of all my rick-rack years ago. I used to have so much rick-rack ribbon. Used to use it on layouts loads, and I'm sure there's lots of layouts in the old albums in this room. I used to use rick-rack loads, and then I got rid of it because I stopped using ribbon and things in my layouts. But looking at this last night, the bit between the border along the top and the red heart paper, the first big V layer, I just think a little bit of rick-rack along there, bit, you know, maybe a bit of black, just a bit, like along that. I just think that would, you know, make that join between those two papers make a bit more sense. I might be mad, but that's what I think. Alright, so just pulling out the wax seal hearts that I did to go with this layout. Now, the one there between the two photos, I'm actually pointing at the screen like you can see me. The one between the two photos, I do end up moving that because that's where my journaling is going to go, and I think actually, you know, I can't heavily embellish there because I know I want the journaling there. Oh, this is me cutting off more trim because I can't get the embellishments to sit nice. So yeah, so there you go, you'll see it moved. This is the bit where I didn't realise, and my brother explained to me the other day why. I didn't realise my camera just stopped recording. It's because there's actually like a 25-minute limit, otherwise it's classed as a camcorder and the import duty's higher. Like, you know, on technology, if it's a camcorder compared to a still camera. So I hadn't realised it stopped, which is why we jumped. But you see where that other seal ends up. Just sorting through the ephemera pack from this collection now and getting out the bits that I may use on this layout. This isn't specifically about summer, or I don't feel it was a very summer layout. So I'm taking, you know, like summer words out. I do use that yellow tag that's got the summer on it. I trim it down so that it fits under the photo. So, you know, if you've been watching me, you know I do that kind of thing where I just trim stuff down if it's not going to fit all the way. Yeah, so just getting all like the banners and the swishes and the tags and things like that out. And then the bits I'm not going to use, so I don't end up losing it, I put into this pouch that came with my Summer Stories collection. And then put in all the bits I pulled out back onto my embellishment tray so they don't go everywhere and the cat jumps on my desk. Love that little tag with the blue tag at the bottom with the heart. I did and ah about a title for this. I actually took a photo, sent it to my nieces and went, I need a title, and then sent them a message going, actually no I don't. So I've cut the word family out of that 12 by 12 sheet, and I've used is it the 1/2 inch circle punch, I think, to punch them out. And then I'm using my little mini dimensionals from Stampin' Up to pop those, each letter up. I'm then going to use the puffy alphabet from this collection and put the word growing. So we're going to have growing family as the title down there. I'm just using some more of those leaves from the collection, just to bring like the pink and the blue across the page from the tag and the other embellishment clusters, and change out some of the bits from that top cluster so that I've got a bit of each colour in there. The date's going to go on the tag or the tab that's on the top of the photo, and you'll see me in a bit doing some lines underneath the picture of Little O, and coming below the photo of me for my journaling. Just why I am sticking bits down there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. And I like reading comments, I like interacting, so even just a like interaction's good. And yeah, say hi. If you like this layout, let me know in the comments, and let me know your feelings on Rick Rack. Should I invest in some Rick Rack after all these years of not using it? Seeing as we're bringing out the Pom Pom trim again. Do I get some Rick Rack? What are your thoughts? So yeah, just getting everything stuck down now. Now with the wax seals, I do use wet glue, and then because I make a bit of a mess with the Tombow, because I mess that bottom cluster up, I do end up being able to wipe a bit of the Tombow that I've got everywhere onto the back of that word, and I do end up sitting the Tombow on top of that for a while. So that's me going off to work, and I've come back and all those bits are glued. I've stuck the tabs down at the top. I'm just going to do the lines. I don't do the journaling on camera, but I am going to add that writing. And now this is just like finishing off, just scatter some of the hearts about. Don't so much scatter, I place thoughtfully. Maybe I should do what I did with the sequins that time, where I just get hold of them, drop them on and stick them where they land. Sequins would look good on this too. So yeah, just using the dimensionals again just to bring them hearts up, just lift them off the page a bit. The next collection, so this is June Outgoing, the next collection, July, has got some acrylic hearts in it. I was thinking of pulling out the Bramble Fox acrylic hearts to go with this, but I really like how those paper ones look. So we are nearly done here. Thanks so much for watching. Not so much squeaky chair today. Thanks for watching, take care, have a good weekend, bye.